presented to us when we don't have any clarity about what's going to happen with our employees.
We're not asking for a vote tonight.
Does that make good sense to you?
Let me clarify, because I think, Mr. Chairman Keith, I am recommending that the resolution in support of this really concept is not the contract, because there's really, unless the board directs otherwise, the contract won't come to the board of commissioners. It will be decided by the Crown. It's really, the resolution is addressing the concept of private management instead of the way we've been doing business.
Well, I still think it would be ill-fated if we support a resolution without a contract that specifies what terms and conditions our employees are going to be under. We already understand about management, but it just doesn't make sense to me. This reminds me of the Linden Park deal. We did not want to move forward on with Linden Park until we had the appraisal and whatnot. Someone said that it would not be good businesses. This would not be good businesses for us, for our employees, I don't think. Now, this is just my personal opinion. But if the commission decides to move forward with this, I'm objecting to this. I would not be supporting.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Evans. Madam Vice Chair.
Mr. Chairman, I wonder if with the RIF notices, I wonder if the employees who are not hired by the new contract, will they automatically be given consideration for vacancies that we have? As the manager.
I think the answer to that is yes. They would get preference for positions that are vacant and for which they qualify.
All right, so they would have first refusal for vacancies for which they qualify. And who decides that? I mean,
it would depend on the position and primarily the department head who had a vacant position. To be, I mean, I don't know if I could get more specific than that.
no, I understand. I was trying to remember a situation where we had done that before. We have done that in the past.
We have
Workforce development.
We've done that in DSS. Well, when we had the RIF 10, 12 years ago, we did a similar thing. I don't know that it's fair to say that they get first refusal of a position, but in essence, it would be very near the first refusal if it's a position that they qualify for. They do get that preferential treatment for that.
I, too, am concerned about that, especially those employees who have invested a major portion of their career with the county. As near as possible, I would like to see them employed.
Commissioner Melvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm also concerned about our employees. Could someone explain to me the longevity pay and when is the deadline on longevity pay for this year?
Let me ask Mr. Lawson to help me with that.
According to our personnel ordinance, in order to qualify for longevity pay each year, you have to be an active employee as of November 30th.
Okay,
for payment in
for
December.
these employees not to not have any part in what we're doing, is there any way that we can look at extending the ones that's involved in this to the November term?
I think that would be a matter for the to be resolved with the contract. Is that not correct, Mr. Moorfield?
Or, I'm not sure I understand, Commissioner Melvin, are you saying that the contract should not go into place before
They'll lose their longevity pay if they're not here on the end of November, if that's what I understand.
According to the ordinance.
According to the policy.
Correct.
But by no means of these employees, I feel like we should have another look at it, because I just don't feel like it's right, because no fault of their own, that they were, that they are in this, they in catch-22 here of something that they really, that they deserve. Knowing policy says November.
Yep. All right, go ahead.
I agree.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know how I'm feeling about this thing. It appears to me that this thing is moving along, and I still maintain that the commissioner's input has not been what it could have, should have been. And we're asking questions now about what's in the contract and what might happen, this, that, and the other. It just appears to me that we're coming along as this thing develops almost after the fact. I mean, we're talking some serious stuff here. Reduction in force, we're talking about longevity, and we're getting it in a piecemeal fashion here toward the end of this is not, I mean, we ought to know what's in this contract. We ought to know these things and not be wondering about it. I mean, we shouldn't be sitting here this hour, and if it's going to be approved within 30 to 60 days, and we're asking these questions about what's in it, and we don't know, and then we got to, I don't know about this thing, Mr. Chairman. I respect the position that the Coliseum Board have taken in terms of moving this direction, but if we got to sign off in any fashion, we ought to be well abreast of what's in there. And if we want to have an impact on it, we ought to be able to see it before it's finalized. Now, that's the way you do negotiation. As a matter of fact, what's in that contract can be determined by what we want to be in the contract. We don't just have to sit here and wonder what's in it. I mean, that's negotiation. So that's where I come from. I mean, that's my view of the world. If you don't agree with me in that regard, that's a whole different issue. But we ought to make sure that our people are taken care of without any kind of question. It shouldn't be a question about that. I mean, that ought to be one of the top priorities. So my feeling, Mr. Chairman, is that if we are at the end of the conversation, if we got to sign off in any form or fashion, we ought to see what's involved in it and have opportunity to study and ask some questions about it.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Commissioner Evans.
Is this resolution expected to, are we supposed to vote on this tonight in agreement with this resolution?
I think the attorney is looking for the commissioners to allow the Crown Center Commission to negotiate the contract.
Okay, let me ask you this, sir.
Okay?
If we do not decide on, if we do not vote on this resolution tonight to delay it until we get more information, does the Crown Coliseum Commission, do they still have the authority to move forward with it anyway, correct?
That's correct, Commissioner Evans.
Yeah.
But let me explain, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Evans, you make a good point, and Commissioner King makes a good point too, but that's the reason that and it was my idea, to bring this to the board tonight. When I cited that language to you from the statute, it says that the Crown has the authority, and it lists all the authority the Crown has for contracting and things, that the same sort of authority that a private corporation has. But it's subject to the terms and conditions prescribed by the Board of Commissioners. And
Subject to.
Subject to, yes, sir. But the board has not prescribed any terms and conditions.
You haven't asked us.
That's what this is tonight, Commissioner King. So that it's not after the commission has voted, but that's why it's here tonight.
I got you. I feel
Yes,
you
sir.
now. Okay.
Well, Mr. Chairman, has anyone made, and I can't recall anyone making a motion on this yet. If not, I'm prepared to make a motion.
Got a question.
You're completely within your purview to make a motion if you'd like. There's still discussion on the table.
Okay, well, I'll like to go ahead and put the motion out there. I would like to move that we as a Board of Commission do not take any action on this resolution until more information is given to us, especially regarding the Cumberland County employees at the Crown Coliseum.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. We have discussion. I'd like to make some discussion. first item is that I concur with Commissioner Melvin and I think the rest of the board up here that the longevity pay should be held into effect, if not with a pro rata share of something, because they have worked in this time. They have been there. They have dedicated themselves to their jobs. They should get what other employees get with the longevity. And I don't know what the legal recourse is, but I believe that the Crown Center employees who should get longevity bonus just because they're 30 days out or whatever that number is, that there still should be compensation paid to them for that. I think we're getting a little, in my opinion, we're getting a little misdirected on this, because what we're asking for to do is what the commissioners have always done. But we are going to get involved in personnel issues that happen at the Crown, and that is what we have always directed the Crown Center Commission to do, just like we would mental health or any of the other facilities. So I think the question now is, are we going to start looking at every contract that happens with every agency that goes forward? Well, hold on. So what we are doing is exactly what they've had for a long time. Mr. Moorfield is just trying to clarify the situation of how we've been operating for many, many years. This just happens, the information is ready. There's been many, many conversations with the board. I've been to a few meetings where employees have been there. There have been meetings with employees on this, so I believe everybody is somewhat cognizant of what's going on. And Mr. Manager, as I understood, one of the reasons behind the formal RIF process is so that they are considered more high. Once you receive a RIF notice, you are considered higher than other people who are not RIFed. That's how it was presented to me and the commission board. Is that safe?
Basically true, yes.
Okay.
Once you get a RIF notice, then you stand.
The purpose of the RIF notice is to allow those individuals who receive a RIF to have a higher degree of assurance that they'll be considered.
Priority consideration.
Well, it's better than not having it if you're going to be not having a job.
You tell someone's getting that letter.
I understand. I understand.
Mr. Chair.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Evans.
And thank you, sir. And I just want to address the first part of your discussion there, which I don't believe that we as commissioners will want to interfere with every contract that the commission. I think they're capable. But what had happened with this is that Commissioner King had made it known or suggested or even said to Mr. Turner when he was here that we would like to be involved in the process. And at that time, just for refreshing the memory, Mr. Turner agreed. Now, whether they go with it the way that I may think they should go with it or any other commissioner should go with it, but I think that we owe it to our employees there to back off this resolution until we have certainty what is going to be stated in that contract on their behalf. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm not trying to take anything from the Crown Commission, but this is something that they agreed to on the outset of this negotiation with bringing in these individuals to run the Crown Coliseum.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Evans. Mr. Manager.
Mr. Chairman, it's my thinking here as I'm listening to the input, and I think it's great input and very valid. I'm not so sure what the contract would have to have with respect to how the county deals with employees in the transition from county employment to whether or not they're privately employed. That perhaps is a transitional kind of compensation that perhaps could be the same as longevity. But this is the first time, and we've got some other examples of having issued reductions in force in other situations over the years.